All right. Welcome to the sesh. Let's see if we can get this thing to like stick into position that I want it to be. Maybe, maybe not. Who knows? We're gonna do 20 minutes of writing and then 5 minutes of work. The classic Pomodoro. Let's have some fun with the lighting. It's been a minute since I had fun with the lighting. Is that fun? Is that going to be bright enough? Galaxy's pretty. All right, we're going to go with pink. Because why not? If I get sleepy, I'll change it. But, okay. How can I breathe? This is not as, like, I need it, like, bright. It's always so funny because they're like, these are vibrant. And then, like, they're not. Not quite. Osaka, vroom, vroom, vroom. Okay. It's a little. We'll run away together. Okay, we're gonna go with that. 20 minutes on, 5 minutes break. I'm gonna be doing this fucking hands essay, baby. We're gonna get it done. I don't know that I ever talked about what happened. It is hands essay time. So, okay. The last time what happened to the hands essay is it deleted itself, and I was really frustrated. So I am going to continue to do this. We are at 1,400 words. I am only on touch 5. So it's a long one, but it's going to be a good time. We're at the first water bottle pass, which means I'm about to write about the second water bottle pass. I'm going to do 20 minutes and then 5 and things. And this lighting might be too low for me, honestly. I'm trying to not be annoying about the lighting. But I'm also doing this to myself. So, ooh, actually, this is kind of fun. Let's see if I can get this lamp to be like just a lamp. And then that'll be a good time. Okay. That feels festive without being distracting. Okay, wonderful. Let's get it going. Hopefully people are gonna enjoy working on their things. Yeah, it was. We're blaming this solely on Substack, and my lack of kind of backups. But it's okay. We're here. We're good. My office chair is like not behaving the way I wish it was. It's kind of tilting me forward and off. Oh, thank you. It went okay. I think, I don't know. It went okay. I got the least feedback on this workshop that I've ever gotten on any workshop, which is fine. It was also a 2-hour workshop, which was new for me. I have like broken this chair now. Fuck. I don't know what's happening to it, but it's like stuck. Okay, that's too far. Goddamn. So I think it went okay. I'll never do another 2-hour workshop, I think. I prefer a 45-minute or a 30-minute, just because I think it's like, I don't know, I think I'm too much for 2 hours in a row. Positive. Like, I think it's overwhelming, but I had also just literally gotten a job, so I was not in an exact mood to do it. My heart rate was pretty high. God, I hate this chair so much. I wish I had gotten a different chair years ago. Thank you. I'm very excited. I start May 4th, so I'm trying to like get everything in my life in order. But I got a work bag and stuff, so that felt like a really big deal to me. And I really like the work bag. So okay. Oh, thank you so much. I'm so happy to hear that. Yeah, I think I just posted a video about Dragon Quest, and this video essay that made me love it. And so I do think that sharing about things that you love is really incredible. And that's so cool. Thank you for letting me know that. Um, I really appreciate when people let me know those things because I don't know, and it's always fun to find out. Okay, great. I'm not delaying anymore. Even though this chair is driving me nuts. There used to be YouTube used to be so cool, and there used to be episodes of Nevermind the Buzzcocks on here, and there was a really good episode of Nevermind the Buzzcocks that David Tennant hosted, and Catherine Tate had to guess a riddle, and the answer was driving me nuts. And so I always think about her yelling it excitedly. I might end up standing, honestly. This is how much of a nightmare this chair is being. Okay, we're gonna do it. Great. 20 minutes. Let's go. Truly, my beloved. Okay. Ah! Everything is working. Okay. hands. Again, still no hands. I do just want to make sure. Yeah. Honestly, hilarious to watch this at like 5 times speed. Hands on arms. All right, I'm not gonna doubt myself on that. All right, it's break time. We made it to break. Congratulations, everyone. Oh wow, there's been a ton of stuff in the chat. Yay. Fun. Getting caught up on what everyone's been working on. Oh, yeah, I mean I'm also trying to not get these like completely flagged because that keeps happening to a lot of my stuff, and like I get it. But I do feel like everything I do should fall under fair use. Um Oh, hey. Congratulations. It is late. I stayed in bed like way too much today. I have way too much to do to waste half my day in bed, but I was really tired and I just feel like I'm allowed to have this week to kind of because after this week I have work. Like, I got to get my shit together. See, here's the thing. I literally wrote that in this essay at at some point um because shit keeps getting where did I say it? Uh because I'm keeping the clips really short in the hands essay. I said, due to the sheer number of clips in my version having anything copyright struck, although come on, Crave, I've done hundreds of hours of free promo for you, and this is totally fair use analysis. I am keeping these contained to literally just when their hands touch, because I am, but also like, I really do feel like I'm sorry. I don't ask for special treatment. But if there's one thing I do think that they could give me, it is not copyright striking me for the 2 times that I've used a clip over 3 seconds long. Um like I didn't intend to do hundreds of hours of free promo for the show, but that is what has happened. And not to be like I deserve this, but also like people get away with so much shit, and I feel like I can't. I'm just someone who's never been able to literally get away with anything. Um and I'm aware of that. I do need to brighten up the screen. Everybody say hi, Weem. Um but I think I'm currently kind of having this panic about the hands essay, which I think will work itself out, but I just need to say it out loud, where like I think I'm just falling into recapping what's happening each time they're touching hands, and I'm not like figuring out what the thematic through line is necessarily quite yet. But I need to get it all down. I need to have it all in one place, and then I'll be able to like figure it out a little bit better. And I know that after episode 1, it's gonna get so much easier because they don't touch hands in the other episodes. And then it gets really hard again for the cottage. But like, oh, this is gonna be like a 4,000 word essay by the time I'm done, no doubt. Which is fine. I've done longer long reads. But yeah, exactly. Like I know kind of what my idea of it is going in, but it's not like the towels where like the towels represented something. This is just like literally look at their hands. Which I don't know if I had a through line when I started it, besides just like the idea of like hands representing so much, and the yearning and the touching and the obsession that we kind of have. Um, yeah, I mean, I'm fully kidding about like doing free advertising. Eh, um, because that's not, I wouldn't say that is actually what I'm doing. Um, so much as just deeply examining. I'm gonna kill it. I fucking hate whatever's happening with this chair, and I'm so mad about it. I fixed this like 2 years ago, and now it's not working again. And I'm like, how the fuck am I fucking this up? Okay, there we go. I think I was overdoing it. Story of my life. Yeah. Okay, 20 seconds left. God, where did the break go? I am so snacky. So gonna try to work through this a little more. And then I want to play Dragon Quest really, really bad. So I'm thinking maybe like two more rounds. That'll be a full more hour. I already worked on this for an hour before this. Yeah. I should back up my essay actually. Speaking of. Okay, work for another 20. Yay, here we go. We're gonna party like it's 1999. Yay, break time. We did it. Um, there was something. Oh, there were a few things that Jacob said recently that were interesting to me in terms of like analysis stuff. One was that the timeline is like all of their memories of each other. Like the reason that it's kind of like the kind of internal logic of why it's so jumpy is that um this is just like all the times they remember being together. And he said something else. Oh, he also said that they fall in love at first sight. I was like vindicated. I didn't post the videos on here because honestly, they got put on Twitter, and it kind of freaked me out, and I just, like, didn't have, like, the kind of mental capacity to keep up with, like, the conversation on another platform, but I did talk about, like, the weirdness after the Peabodys of them just posting an image of Connor on on the social media account that's, like, owned by Jacob. Um, and I think it's, I'm glad I made the video, but then the next morning I woke up and I opened Twitter, and, my face was the first thing I saw, and, like, I don't like, my Twitter account is, like, in no way connected to my TikTok accounts, like, Twitter didn't know that it was showing me, and that was weird, and then, of course, like, it's not these are not my followers, it's not my comment section, so I'm not able to, like, engage with it, and thankfully, like, most people were, like, kind. Like, nobody thought I was, like, talking on my ass or anything, but, like, it was very like, oh, fuck. Like, I sometimes forget. I don't know how to describe this without just sounding like kind of ignorant and stupid about it, but like I forget that like this is public. You know what I mean? And then like something like that happens and it's just like, "Oh my god." Like, right, like people can download the videos and post them wherever and I don't really have any control of what happens at that point. Um so that was terrifying. Um yeah, that was part of the video, and then, of course, people got, like, annoyingly pedantic about how I had said it, and I was just like, "Oh, I think these are people who genuinely can't comprehend what I'm saying." There is a difference between there's a difference between using the word I just 'cause ever I pointed out that I didn't like that they said that Hudson wasn't eloquent. I think, like, that term to me is just, like, not something you should ever use in that way. It feels it's a racialized term, and it feeds into a larger stereotype about, like, non-white people not being eloquent, like, when they speak, and that's not good. And I said it's not the same thing as them saying Connor can't read or write, which I also don't like as a joke, but it's not the same thing because there's not a stereotype that white people are illiterate, so it's not feeding a larger cultural narrative about that. Um it's just it's honestly, like, at this point, the thing is, if they're not doing it on purpose, then this feedback should not harm them, and they should just change, grow, and move forward doing better. That's all it is. And, like, that's what the feedback is about this, from me at least, is, like, if this is not intentional, then there should be absolutely no resistance to changing, growing, doing better going forward. That's it. And, it is that simple to me. The thing that really the reason that I don't talk about like bigger stuff like this is because there is so much vitriol around it that then becomes about other things. It becomes about the actors, it becomes about like whatever. And like that's not the conversation I'm trying to have as someone who professionally did DEI for 5 years. Like I understand like what is actually like what the next steps should be in terms of like both like a moral justice social standpoint and like a literal HR you should do better as a company. Like for if the only thing they're worried about is the public perception, then they're doing a piss poor job of making sure the public perception is positive. Um and so like that's all it is. Yeah, it's just the thing is like people keep saying like they're friends, it's friendly, and it might be. It might be friendly. This might be genuinely how they all enjoy talking to each other. I have no way of knowing that. The fans have no way of really knowing that. It feels bad for the fans who are hearing it. And I'll just point out that, like, if Hudson didn't feel comfortable with it, that's his boss. He's not really able to say that. Like, this is something that, like, we talk about all the time in terms of DEI stuff is like, it can't be on the people of color to bring these matters up because it puts an unfair burden on them. Um, yeah, what I said is these are public figures speaking in public. They should be careful and professional about their public comments because it is a different thing than when you're doing things in private. And like there have been multiple instances where I think people like the other thing about microaggressions is like they're named that for a reason because they are so small that they seem like unnotable on a singular scale, and then when you add them all up and patterns of behavior emerge, it's like, oh, this is the insidiousness of of a racist society. Like, none of us get to escape the fact that we all exist in a racist society. You have to do work to unlearn it. And you have to, like, be really committed and open to understanding your flaws as the person who's been raised in this. Because we're all culpable. It's not you're a bad person for having to unlearn it. It's like if you are given the opportunity and really the feedback that you need to do better and you refuse to do better, at that point is like you're like not expecting the stage to be this large. There are slip ups that can happen that I can absolutely be like, okay, that's odd, but I can understand. But when you add things up, when patterns emerge, if you're called out on the pattern and the pattern doesn't change, at that point, absolutely fucking go ham. Huge amounts of judgment on the table, like because it's simple. It's simple, and also if you care, you should want to do better. And the thing with the show is that the plot of the show, is about this. This is a huge element of the show, is the way Shane is treated because he is an Asian person, and like an Asian Canadian in particular. Like it's just like, come on, guys. And like so it doesn't shock me that the fan base is very attuned to this because of the show that they're fans of. Like come on. The whole thing of like this is the best group project ever. I'm going to stop thinking that. Like, and that sucks. And I'm open to like not, you know what I mean? Like whatever, but people just need to do better on a professional scale. Like this is not even about individual actions. This is about like a workplace safety thing at this point. Like um yeah, that's like that's the fucking thing. Is like it's not, no one should ever be trying to get away with any of this. This is like a better society thing. But like when I made another video and I said in it like this, they should apologize. They should like own what happened. They should apologize and then say like moving forward, this is what it is. Because what it ended up being, and like why I didn't end up really posting on YouTube, is because a lot of the comments ended up being like Connor v Hudson, and like that is actually not at all what this is about. Like this is not about me being like they're promoting Connor more than they are, but both of them have completely different careers. It is not like the show is about like the show's social media is promoting the show. They are not promoting the actors. You know what I mean? And so it's very frustrating to mention either of their names and then have to wade through stand bias conversations when I'm really not trying to have those conversations ever with anyone because I don't stan culture, I find it abhorrent in many ways. I understand that I talk a lot about a show, but I find that very different to like standing a celebrity. Um, in my own mind, I don't know if that's true, but it works for me in terms of like I think I can be obsessed with like fictional media in a way that I find much safer than being obsessed with individual real people. But also like it's not about like career trajectory stuff. It's not about promo. It's about literal treatment. like um And yeah, it's exactly, like, it's ideally, like, it's such a win-win-win-win-win situation that when people are resistant to it, that's why I get so suspicious. Um, so I think with the thing, okay, can I just say, I am so with you on that. I also think there's a little bit of rewriting history going on with Rachel, which I understand, and I'm not trying to call her out, and I'm not trying to compare her and Jacob or whatever. But from my understanding, Rachel didn't intentionally write Shane as autistic. That is feedback that she got from readers. And then, like, literally, Hudson was like, this guy's autistic. I recognize autistic traits that are similar to my dad's. So I'm going to play him that way. So that's great. So canonically on the show, Shane is autistic. Canonically in the books, I don't like it wasn't really there. And so I think like now it's hard when there are things that she has put out, particularly that list that's like Ilya's smart, Shane is not. Ilya's cool, Shane is not. That's a really tough thing to stomach from the fandom perspective. It's also really not great. Like I'm being very mild with my word choice here. I don't think it's great that there's a lot of things in terms of like the characterization of Shane in the book is like small, like hairless. And it's not, I don't say this to like dissuade white writers from trying to write characters of color. I think it's really important to do, and it's really important to get right, and it's also really important to understand that you do have like a higher standard to hold yourself to in the way that you speak about those characters, in order to not accidentally fall into like racial stereotypes, like and making things that have a different meaning when it's not applied to an all white character. Like, so yeah, it's frustrating. It's frustrating because I think the show, of course, has a large fan base of people who are not white, because it's not an all white cast. And that's huge. And the diversity that they actually managed to put into a show about hockey, which is one of the whitest sports of all time, was lovely. Like I love that Svetlana is not like and all of Kip's friends. Like it's great that like basically anytime they could have a character not be white, they did. Like that is solid. Good job show. Anyway, it's really frustrating. It's just frustrating. And like I'm glad I said something, but it's been a weird week and on top of that having it go to Twitter was very like, "Oh right, I'm not in control of everything." And that's scary for someone like me who likes to be in control of everything. Anyway, um yeah, that's the thing. Like the thing is like I d- I literally did DEI facilitation for a very long time. And the thing is, I don't think the DEI world was perfect in its approach because a lot of times we didn't have solutions to things that we were kind of saying, like, hey, here's a problem. And like I have a lot of nuanced opinions about this that I don't want to get into right now. But one of the things is like doing large scale work like that, the unlearning and the untangling and all of that, having that happen at work is like not usually the best environment for people. Like doing soul level, life altering, world opening work with coworkers is not most people's like most spiritually attuned environment. And having to ask questions that you really want to have answers to if you're going to change, learn, and grow, those questions become minefields because you're around your coworkers and like they're going to know that you don't know the answer to that question if you ask that question. So it's tough for me to just be like for me to think like all it will take is this because that's not it. Like but it is these people do need to invest in doing this work for themselves now. Like it's not about like checking boxes. It's about like literally doing deep work with yourself in order to become like a better citizen of the world. And if you do actually want to be like a good friend, neighbor, everything, you do have to do the work. Like, sorry, being alive does require labor. It always has. And we don't value emotional labor. And I also don't like thinking of things in terms of emotional labor because that's a very specific term that got co opted. But like, yeah, sometimes you have to do some heavy lifting. Sometimes you have to feel bad. Sometimes you have to go through the sense of shame in order to come out the better side and like understand where that shame comes from and how to help other people like grow in order to like not perpetuate it in the next generation. Like we're all trying to like make the world a better place and it's a cumulative effort. And so even if you have great intentions, if people tell you that your impact doesn't match those intentions, you have to do better. If you are someone who genuinely is trying to be a good person, that feedback should not make you feel defensive and dismissive. Defensive is a perfectly normal first reaction to have, but then you have to get curious. And like I always think about Jon Stewart. Jezebel back in the day wrote an article about how Jon Stewart didn't have any women in his writer's room and kind of like the overall like boys club of the Daily Show at that time. And Jon Stewart has a joke about it where he's like, and then I went out into the writer's room and I was like, can you believe that? Mike, Mitch, Daryl, Harry, like he realized while he was complaining about the article that the article was right. And it's like, yeah, he was defensive and then he got better at hiring women. Like he hired Jessica Williams like the next day. Like it's very important that when you get called out, you do better because that's what proves that like yeah, you may have been called out. We're not all perfect. Everybody has the opportunity to change, learn, and grow. And I'll give you that opportunity. But if you don't take it and you triple down on the behavior, that's the part that's actually like much more indicative than anything else. So I hope they do better. This because it's egregious and it's weird. And honestly, when Peabody is so fucking cool, and the fact that that was not the only reaction that I got to have to that was really like, come the fuck on, guys. Like this is such an easy, like this is such a clear thing that's happening now. And it makes it taints the rest of it. Not to say the word taint. But yeah, anyway, we're doing work. I think I got another 20 minutes in me. That'll be an hour worth of work, and then we can chat. We can chat after that. Um, it's well, what's interesting, like about what happened with the Peabody announcement is that like it's on an Instagram that's run by Jacob's Media Production Company and not Crave. So like it's not Crave. It's not the official Crave Media account. So like there, the feedback is much more direct to these two, and like when it all adds up, it all feels much worse. You know what I mean? Like when all of the pictures from behind the scenes being mostly of Connor and the pictures for like, and it's all things that like I genuinely don't really pay attention to all of the things that are happening on Instagram and Twitter about the show, but like I'm aware of them. And so that felt like a bit, but also I saw, you know what actually made me make the videos? Like I saw a couple people be like, I feel like people are ignoring this. And I was like, I don't want to ignore this. Like, I don't talk about the actors, but it's not about the actors. This is like about a broader thing. Was very funny to have people call me a virtue signaler and a fake activist in the comments because it's like they literally have no idea what my career is or has been about for the last 5 years. So that's cool. But also like I love when people try to use virtue signaling in like a negative way because it's just such a fun term for that. It's like it's bigger, but it's also like it yeah. It was really frustrating, and I do feel a little like about the whole thing, you know? And like I wanna have fun. I wanna have joy and like I don't know. I then also had like a whole thing with myself because I was like, there's so much media that I do love that like is from people who I don't think have great moral stances on everything. Like, I don't agree with the Gilmore Girls creators because they are Zionists. And that does come up like 3 or 4 times in Gilmore Girls in very strange ways. Aaron Sorkin was like not a good person when he wrote The West Wing. There's a lot of instances of like, you know, like there's just Joss like Buffy was one of my favorite shows. Joss Whedon is a monster. So it's this thing where I'm like, it's not that I can't and don't enjoy media from problematic people, but like it when it feels like these people are currently doing it, it feels very different. And it feels like I don't know, I'm like I don't know if I'm being naive, but I'm like vaguely hopeful that like this will be caught and changed because I don't think that this is feedback that they've gotten before, but I also worry anytime feedback reaches a certain scale because I do think our brains shut down in order to make it better. Um so yeah, that's my 2 cents about that. I feel like I should post the video over here, but I'm also like I can't I it's really stressful to deal with like the it's I don't have a great mental capacity this week to like handle the stress and anguish that I do feel when I feel misunderstood about really important subjects. And that is also why I don't talk about like really important deep political stuff online a lot because like nothing like I do it in my real life. I try to be like an active dismantler and contributor to like the good, but like it's really hard for me to go online and have people like fundamentally bad faith interpret stuff that I'm like, "No, this really fucking matters." I can turn comments off. The thing with turning comments off is now it's a signal that something bad happened there. And so people go find other videos and they comment on those. Like it kind of creates this like other ecosystem where then there's like comments on other videos that have nothing to do with it and then people get curious and it like grows. It's very like it's not and I might be catastrophizing, but that's kind of yeah, it's hard. Like there have been several videos where I'm like turning the comment section off does feel good, but then it kind of yeah. I think like it does require I mean, it does require a certain level of bravery. I'm glad that I have the videos. I do feel a little bit like I should put them on I don't know, I'll figure it out. Yeah, it's just it's also, like, honestly, seeing them on Twitter really spooked me, and I know that that's not, like, a great but it really did go make me, like, just it really took me aback in terms of, like, "Oh, right," like, once it leaves my once I post it, it's no longer mine, it's everyone's, um and I don't know, I think this is some, like, weird way my body's trying to exercise control right now over that video, even though I'm fully fucking aware of how little control I have. Um, so, anyway, that's my psychoanalysis of myself and my actions around that right now. It and talking about it just makes me go like, "Yeah, this is not" is indicative of other things. Okay, let's do 20 minutes more worth of work. I'm sorry that I have babbled for so long, but hopefully everybody is like doing their thing. So let's do it. Touch 15. Good Lord. now. Touching me, touching you. Wow, I never realized we cut to Ilya's back after this. Dee-dee-dee. God, I've never noticed how ugly this Shane outfit is. Okay, well, I've done something accidentally, which is I now am making a montage of all the time that Shane and Rose's hands are touching. Because I knew they touched in the restaurant, but I didn't realize that like literally every shot of them that Ilya's seeing is them holding hands. Or touching hands and stuff. Like even on the news, it's like another hand holding shot. Do they hold hands at the club? Let's find out. Woo! Hands. Touching hands. I mean, his hands are on her, but they're not. Okay. 26 seconds. Okay. I was supposed to be done. Okay, what is interesting about that is how much the hands are actually like literally intertwined with each other. There's so much there. That's so interesting. Oh no. Well, you know. Do. I forgot that I showed the spit scene. La 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 la. Is Ilya touching that girl's hands? Good point. I should actually go back and double check that. He's certainly, here's the thing, Ilya's definitely grabbing her boobs, which I find really fun just in terms of bisexual representation. Ilya's a tit man and he doesn't care whose body the tits are on. But also I love that they know enough about each other to like be able to spot each other's entourage. Like Ilya has stalked Shane enough to know who Miles is. But and Shane knows Marley, which makes sense. Okay, so far, no. Ilya's hands are just on her, but not on her hands are not on him, on her. Oh, there we go. Well, YouTube is going to flag this, but that will be my own fault. Okay. Their hands are... His hands are on her hip, and then she, like, moves them up to her chest. Which, like, get it, girl. But I know that in the book, this is like... This girl is just... Her boyfriend enjoys watching her with other men, which is fun. Ilya at the club. I will say I crack myself up a lot making these, and the ways I was cracking myself up tonight were mostly around what I had named a lot of these files previously, like hand, wrist, tuna spit. It's so the like it's somebody had a perfect Tumblr post about Shane's night being like he had like he lost a game, he had to go dancing, and then he had to top like worst night of Shane's life. I love that like they get to the stairwell and he seems to realize like, oh fuck. I'm really in it now. And that is so different from when he and Ilya are like making out and going up the stairs so excitedly together. It's so good. Yeah, I mean, that that is that is the alternate title for the long game. Shane Hollander, it is no good, very bad hockey season. Like, Jesus Christ. I don't know. I don't know that I've quite figured out the through line with the hands other than just like, yeah, there's signals of emotional jealousy, but I do think like the contrast between Rose's hands and the pronunciation of the hands when Shane is with Rose to be very interesting. Yeah, I mean, like I will also say like part of the reason that I want them to do better right now with their social media, like I want it for every reason, but in particular, like they better fucking prepare for what's coming if season 2 goes the way that people are worried it will. Yeah, it is that, isn't it? Like the hands are secretive. The hands are they're only allowed to touch each other in these like very specific ways. I guess it is you construct it. So once again, we have to return to the text. And we must always remember that this is really the entire thing that all of this rests on is Barbara Kruger's "You construct intricate rituals which allow you to touch the skin of other men." And it is the relationship, like relationships are defined by hand holding and yeah, like the idea that they can hold hands in public. But the intricate rituals, like, and here's the thing, like, can we just get into this a little bit? The reason that hockey is one of the most homophobic sports is because hockey is one of the most homoerotic sports. There's so many, like in terms of intricate rituals, the amount of hugging, ass slapping, whatever that hockey players do in public, let alone if we get into like the actual like breakdown of like the culture of a locker room and like what hazing is in hockey and how much like just absolutely awful shit happens to these guys. But like like I think all sports fall into this. Like this piece is about not only sports but also sport fans, sport culture. It's about all men. like and they're literally allowed to fight. That's the thing about hockey. Like hockey is it's so overly like hetero dominant, and it's about literally like the idea that you can just take your gloves off and literally hit another guy in the face. Like that doesn't happen in any other sport. In other sports, you have to tackle people ostensibly to get the ball. You're allowed to fight someone after the pucks, like after whistles blow. Like you get to strip down a little bit and go hand to hand combat with another fucking man. The other thing about hockey that we should always remember, and you just said took the word right out of my mouth. They're on skates the whole time. They're always skating around, which makes this is the other thing that I think like that is part of the overcompensation in terms of the homophobia is that they're on skates. And like skating, regardless of how athletically you do it, it's a very beautiful thing to do. Like skating is inherently very like it's a lovely motion and movement. And I understand that hockey players like skate fast and they skate hard and they do all these things, but like skates add such a different element to the game itself. Um, and when you look at figure skating and how much figure skating even in this show is stereotyped to be something that only gay men do, which isn't true, and also adds like it because it's not true that every gay man that every figure skater is gay. It adds like a weird homophobic wrinkle to the whole thing. I don't love that it's like, well, I'm assuming your buddy's gay, right? Because like that, yeah. Hockey is a complicated and nuanced game, man. And you know what? They like to touch each other's butts a lot. Like I think that like it's one of those things around like the locker room culture. The reason that like there's so much like heteronormativity reinforced in terms of locker room culture is because it is a space where men are naked with each other. And like that is just not a thing that we do casually, certainly in North American society. And so there's like yeah, I mean, like, there's that clip of when Gretzky retires, he and Mario Lemieux like make out. Like, there's so many. They slam each other. And, like, I mean, that's also the episode montage in episode 4. He gets slammed up against the boards, and then he's getting slammed up against the couch, and it's like, yeah, that parallel's fucking hot, man. And it's also like, yes, and it's why hockey players are so fucking homophobic because God forbid somebody think that that is what they want to do to each other. So it makes this like it reinforce like the part of the reason there's a million reasons, but part of the reason that I think like there's so much heteronormativity and like homophobia within hockey in particular is because they're pretty fucking gay. And like here's my other thing. My best friend in high school was a gay guy, and I loved Dan. Our friendship ended in a weird different way for a million different reasons, but like every single person in my high school wanted to make out with my best friend. Like every single guy would make an excuse to kiss Dan at some point, and it would happen over and over. And this led me to my theory that like men want to kiss each other all the fucking time, and they just like again they have to construct intricate rituals that allow them to do these things. And then in my adult life, I see this all the time. And then I was reading a book about like the music scene in the early 2000s in New York City, and it's about like the Strokes and stuff. And there is a chapter that I just started laughing at because I had just had this conversation with a friend. And then it literally is like Julian Casablancas loves to make out with other men. Here's all of the men that he would casually make out with on Friday nights around the Lower East Side in the early 2000s. And it was just like, yeah, of fucking course. Like I know this. This is not a secret. And yeah, it's very funny. It's very funny. But I do think like I don't know, like TNT apparently put some heated rivalry like clips into their playoff package, and like it was a big deal. Yeah, I mean the thing is like it's part of why straight culture is floundering so much right now is because like so many straight men, I mean also like an alarming amount of gay men as well now don't see women as allies, but that's a different fucking conversation for a different time. The amount of straight men who have no regard for women as a people, as humans, and only date women to impress. I mean, it's the not to make it political, but like in We Breed Lions, they talk about like if you like hockey players if they dated anyone who was if they hooked up with anyone who was not a white blonde girl, it was like, oh, you had to skate backwards for practice. Oh, you got punished. If you hooked up with a brunette, there was a thing versus if you hooked up with anyone who wasn't white. Like that type of reinforcement and in hockey culture, like, yeah, when you see the pictures of all the wags in their wag jackets and they're literally all blonde, like that is the result of that kind of culture. Um, yeah, it's fucking like the thing about everybody needs to read We Breed Lions, but it will make you like so like it's one of those like life altering books where you're like, fuck, I know too much now. But I knew like a tragedy had happened in a town like 2 over from mine when I was in high school that really opened my eyes to like the severity of hazing and like what was actually happening with boys in those locker rooms and just how harmful it was. And like thinking about like America has a hazing problem. I've written a lot about this before. But sports are where some of the worst hazing happens. Like we tend to think of hazing in America in terms of sororities and fraternities, but actually on college campuses, like especially big school like SEC schools and stuff, like the hazing happening in the sororities and fraternities might be bad, but it's nothing compared to what's happening to the cheerleaders. Like it's nothing like because sports teams have such a different legacy and there's such a rookie hazing mentality. And like this even happens like they make videos about this. Like you can go online and watch pranks like being pulled on rookies. You know what I mean? Like and prank culture is akin it's all part of the hazing because it's all of the psychological thing of like you should never feel safe. We're going to make sure that you never feel safe. Your hotel room isn't safe, your belongings aren't safe, your car like whatever. And like pranks are one of those things that it's just like yeah, it's harmless until it's psychological torture. Um and so, yeah, this is why I don't believe in professional sports. It's like a huge part of it is like the intensity around sports. It gets channeled in other ways, but also with hazing in particular, one of the worst parts about it is the cyclical nature of it. And the way that the cyclical nature is kind of reinforced is that the worst hazing is often carried out by sophomores. Like in terms of like the second years will do the majority of it and the worst parts of it, and it's so that they're instantly culpable, and so they turn it's that thing of like it was done to you so now you get to do it to someone else, so the shame and humiliation that you felt you're literally directly passing into the next person that you are making ashamed and humiliating, but also you are now culpable. You are no longer a victim, you are now a perpetrator, and so you are not allowed to go to the police and tell them anything we've done because you're now part of it. So it's like that's the cyclical nature of it, is that like the seniors are not actually the ones like standing on the pledges making them drink, you know what I mean? um and yeah, I think this is where like you're so right, like the team culture of it. And I really think that like we lived in such a brutal time, and millennials, I really do give millennials a lot of credit for turning the culture around quite quickly. And it hasn't seeped into everywhere, but I do think there is now a culture, there is now a shift in the way we talk about these cultures, is like there are ways to bond positively that actually reinforce that team culture so much more. Like omerta actually does not keep people together. It creates secrecy and it drives people insane. And so instead of having things that you're never allowed to talk about, you should have intricate rituals that actually construct like positive associations with each other. And it's interesting. There was an article in the New York Times, I think, recently about like the Gen Z hockey players and how they're all kind of like changing the locker room culture. And some of the shit that they said casually is like, "Oh yeah, of course the rookies wouldn't be allowed to do that in the past." And it's like, what? Like, what do you mean? But it's like because of like rookie superstars really, and because of their ability to like use the internet, um there has been like kind of a culture shift in like we're not going to like do the whole like veteran versus rookie bullshit reinforcement thing. So it was talking about like like Macklin Celebrini like doesn't wait until everyone's eaten to go get his food, and like Connor Bedard is getting massages while veterans are getting massages. um And yeah, I agree with you about the intimacy coordinators are like a huge part of this. Um, I mean, I think like there's a that I wouldn't consider that hazing because it's positive. Hazing to me implies a very different thing. And I think like bonding, friendship, initiation, that's what that sounds like to me. It's like initiation into the group is getting special attention, but hazing is forcing people to behave in particular ways in order to gain initiation into the group. And like I had friends that did like like light things around it, or like my school didn't have frats and sororities because somebody had died during initiation, because they used to make them jump from building to building. But you could go to Cornell and rush if you wanted to. So like some people who were really into the Greek life tried to do that, didn't really work, but whatever. But there were music frats, and so like my friends joined the music frat, and one of their things like, oh, like, the night of your initiation, you have to stay up all night and like smoke and drink with the brothers. And for some people, that was like totally not, that did not count at all as hazing in their minds. It was just like a fun night up. And for others, they were like, I don't smoke weed. And I felt like I had to. And like, it's those things where it's like, well, as soon as you don't feel like you have a choice, it does cross into a different definition. You know what I mean? Um, but I think there's like plenty of positive ways to induct people into groups that make them feel special and are part of like long legacy kind of things. Um, and yeah, exactly. Like, oh, I mean, talk about hazing in the military and like, and also just like the amount, like the like secret word that I'm not saying around all of this is the amount of rape that happens amongst men in these situations. I mean, it happens to women as well. Sororities have had long like issues with this kind of being part of it, but like particularly amongst men, it's rape and like anal penetration that they do in order to humiliate each other that really like fucks people up for a long time, and also like causes a lot of the boys who it happens to quit the sport, never really lead normal, healthy lives afterwards, or what happened um, in my state, which was like kids took their own lives because they couldn't deal with the shame of what had happened to them. And so I think like that's where hazing gets like really, really, I mean, it's harmful no matter what, but I think like the ramifications of it that aren't spoken about because of shame and because male victims of sexual violence do face a lot of stigma. Every single victim of sexual violence faces stigma, but men in particular do have like a thing to overcome around it, particularly when it happens in the ritualistic touching the skin of other men thing. I just watched Spotlight again recently, so I've been thinking a lot about that stuff and like just the amount of victims in Boston who didn't come forward because of the social stigma that they knew would be attached to it. And it's such a huge thing to ask someone to like go through in their life, to come forward and be known and make it known what happened to them. So the military stuff in particular around that is always horrific. And Kristen Gillibrand used to be like kind of a champion of making sure that rape culture in the military and rape tribunals were taken seriously when it was happening to women. And unfortunately, Kristen Gillibrand is like a fucking heartless monster. And so the reason that she wanted to do that was not necessarily to fix the culture, but to make sure that the military like like, you know what I mean? Like, it's just, ugh, it's just so, it's also like, it's all connected. It's all connected. And the shame around sex is a huge part of why so it's important to me that people don't have shame around sex or shame around how they talk about sex. And so I do think that this show, to bring it back to something positive and happy, I do think that this show is opening a lot of people up to like sex that hasn't been put on screen before. Like, I'm sorry, like wrist grab tuna spit, like that's a sexy, sexy scene. And it is there is a scene kind of like it. I think like spitting in hands is one of those things that like that did happen in Brokeback. That was one of the cool things. And so I think like the kind of raw sensuality and sexuality of the show is really important to me in terms of like positive depiction. Um, and yeah, I don't know. It was hard when the show first came out and there was so much like women are only obsessed with this because it's sex and it's everybody is into the sex. And I feel like for a long time I was like, I don't want to talk about the sex at all because I want to make it clear that the show has so much more going for it than just the sex. And now I'm like, yeah, the sex is like a huge fucking part of it though. Um we see, oh yes, like all of the sex is consensual, and it's not only implied to be consensual. We get hot sexy consent check-ins, and that's so important to me. I'm sorry, millennials really ate with make consent sexy because like it's so great to see that that is possible. That like Ilya's checking in is not only like for the sake of making sure, it's also like a turn on. It's for both of them. And like, I don't know, someone recently, because I clipped that part where Ilya says, I want to please you. And somebody was like, that doesn't make sense with him as a Dom. Doms don't say that. And I was like, you have Tell me you've never understood. Tell me you don't understand what BDSM is without telling me you don't understand what BDSM. Like, what the fuck are you talking about? A dom saying I want to please you is actually like completely in line with what that is, what that sexual like. What are you talking about? Like, it truly stunned me. I feel like I couldn't like really deal with it. I was like, oh no, like I need you to listen to like 900 hours of the Savage Love cast and then get back to me. Like, what are you talking about? Doms want to like the entire point of safe, sexy, like consensual, sane, like all of that is because everybody in that instance should be hitting maximum pleasure at all times. But I was like, what do you think a service top is? Like, what do you think? Like, oh, like God, for fuck's sake, like no, that's a thing that I've realized over and over again is people don't understand what dominant and submission like actually means in terms of the dynamics, but also like people have such a weird understanding of it. Like somebody said that it's abusive, and I was like, what the fuck are you talking about? Like, yes, every relationship has the capacity to have abuse within it. I'm not saying that there are not people within the BDSM community that have experienced abuse from whatever, but it's not an inherently abusive dynamic. And in fact, speaking about the dynamic really plainly, having contracts, having things that you have to sit down and actually hash out with the other person, that's where like yeah, I mean, this is the thing. Everybody was so worried about the impacts of Twilight, but nobody predicted that the worst impact of Twilight would be that somebody wrote sexy fan fiction that totally changed how everybody viewed BDSM for years. And there we go. Even though they have contracts. Like, that's the most frustrating part of 50 Shades is that like sometimes they do show things that you're like, well, yeah, but like not like that. Like, yeah, you might have a room, but like you're not supposed to like beat people in it when they're not consenting to that. Like, Jesus, of course she freaks out. Who does that? Like, but yeah, I mean, it's yeah, it's exactly. It's like, yeah, people do that stuff. They're not also being like, it's because you remind me of my mother, the crack whore. Like, Jesus Christ. Okay. Talk about ficky writing. For all that I feel like I occasionally rag on Rachel Reed, and I do want to say that woman knows how to write a fucking sex scene. A sex scene. So good for her. Way to apply your talents, girl. Way to go. I'm glad that she's probably made a shit ton of money from her books. Smut is not easy to write, and she writes it incredibly well. And if we're gonna get an in-between scene between seasons, I don't want my dinner with Hayden. I want the one where Cliff is texting Ilya porn and then Shane reenacts the porn in order to prove that he can like hold out longer. Um, yeah, the thing about wealth in romance novels is like we do need that. Because otherwise people have problems that make it not sexy. Yeah, it's so funny. Sometimes when Jacob is in interviews, I'm like, God, you can really tell what generation he's from. The way he said buddy, I was like, yeah. Um, the Gen X cusp is so real. Like, um, yeah. I mean, I'm glad like I think Shane's getting his ass eaten while they're holding hands. And good for them. Yeah, I mean, everybody was so like, oh, they don't show the prep, they don't show blah blah blah. I'm like, whatever. Like, I'm sorry, I've lived with gay guys. What do you want them to show? That there's like a lingering Polar Springs bottle on the bathroom floor before because they ran out to have sex with their boyfriend. They didn't think to throw away their fucking douche. Like it's fine. Everybody like also I the other thing, okay, because I had to write about the scene where Ilya's in a towel and he goes back into bed. Everybody always was like, he showers because Shane is weird about germs. He showers because Shane's a clean freak. Okay, then why isn't Shane showering? Shane's the clean freak, and yet he's happy to stay in the come stay in bed while Ilya goes off and showers. Like, um, I also am like, I'm sorry. We all need to get a little bit dirtier about the reality of hockey players. That shit stinks. Hockey players are so stinky. It like every athlete has a lot of stink to them. But like, have you ever smelled a hockey gear bag? It's It's so bad. I've never been to a hockey player's house and not had their gear bag sitting outside. Like, this used to be a huge deal of was, like, getting your hockey bag washed because it smelled so terrible. Like, he said he'd take his cup off with his teeth exactly. Like, that d okay, I have so many questions about this. I okay. I have a confession. I got a few too many comments one day saying, "Why does nobody ever talk about this scene?" And they were all scenes that I've talked about. And I understand this is like a rhetorical thing, and people aren't actually saying this to me in my comments, but it feels targeted because I read them in my inbox. So I went through and I clipped everything that I've never talked about in heated rivalry, and that was one of them, the cup without the teeth. And then I didn't talk about it because I was like, "There's nothing to say. I just want to point out the fact that this is a thing I haven't talked about." I was gonna make it a longer series, and then I wasn't feeling petty anymore, so I didn't. But the cup off with the teeth, I have so many questions. Does this mean that they occasionally leave their gear on? Are they imagining? Is Ilya trying to turn him on with like imagining hooking up in the locker room after something, or like in the stadium after? You know what I mean? Is he like leave your cup on, and we're gonna like, like I just, but like, where's he taking the cup off with his teeth? Like, where is it? You know what I mean? Like, if it's good, where, how's this fantasy? Let's play the fantasy through to the end. Let's play the tape all the way through to the end. That's not what that saying is supposed to be about, but I enjoy it, so we're going with it. Um, because the other thing, there's my favorite makeout scene is in the montage where they're like stripping each other's hoodies off of each other, and they're not wearing anything underneath, which implies to me that they like showered at the rink and then like immediately went to Shane's. Like, they're not actually like fully, like, they didn't get like fully dressed and stuff. So like, is Shane leaving is Shane leaving a cup on and then they're hooking up? Is Shane like sneaking out of, like sneaking out, like getting out of the shower, put like, is he sneaking out before the shower? Is it like a dirty, sweaty, sexy hookup? Like, where's the cup? How is it being worn? When is it being where is it happening? Um because yeah, I think like everybody being like Shane's a neat freak. I'm like, sure, maybe, but he's also not the one showering. He is also a hockey player. We do have to understand that. And also, not to bring this up, but if he is based on a particular someone, that particular someone has like a disintegrating jockstrap that he's been wearing since he was 16. Like, this is where I'm like, what is Shane superstitious in the same way? I don't think so, because his pads look new when we see him in the pads, but like, um so I have questions. Does Shane have a different cup that Ilya's talking about? Is he not talking about his like official gear cup? Is he just talking about like another thing? Is it just another way to get like a jockstrap imagery going? Because like that's the other thing, is like they're having a lot of sexy jockstrap sex. And that is not something I'm seeing explored in fics enough, to be honest. I don't think enough fic writers have lived with slutty gay men, because boy oh boy do they have collections in every color. I mean, here's the thing. It could be like it is a practical offer. And it's also something that Ilya's sending him, like, in the middle of Shane's day. Like, I don't know. I also just love that like Shane's just getting sexy texts next to his friend. That's always fun. Wearing teeny tiny shorts. Um, it's a text that doesn't really make sense, and that's what's so fun about it. I love sexy texts that are kind of like, yeah, I guess that's sexy, sure. Why not? um, yeah, yeah. I just, it's fun. It's fun to speculate. It's a good time. I should probably go because it's 12:20 and I need to finish this thing tomorrow, probably. I also need to write my other newsletter tomorrow. Oh no. Uh, and at some point I need to do other things as well. Um, so I might bounce. Yeah, I might play some Dragon Quest, honestly. I forgot how much I love Dragon Quest. It's been a while. It's been like the perfect amount of time since I last played it, so I don't fully remember exactly how the story rolls out. And when I got put in the dungeon, I was like, "Oh, how do I get out of this thing again?" And then I was like, "Oh my god, I get to meet Eric." Um, Oh, you're so welcome. I'm so glad you got work done. Thanks for listening to me ramble for really long periods of time in between them. I am excited. I forget and drag like when I saw like Hendrickson, I was like, oh yeah, Jade's coming. I love every member of that party, and it's very exciting to gather all the buds. What a game. Okay, this was so much fun. Thank you for joining everyone. I will definitely do another live tomorrow with some writing. Definitely earlier. I'm gonna try this week to like sleep train myself back to waking up at like 5 in the morning. Not after tonight, but tomorrow. So it's so honestly being able to like giving yourself time off from something so that when you return to it, it's like really lovely and fresh, I think is really important. I have not like sat down and just like watched Heated Rivalry in a while. I've obviously watched it a million times, like clip things from it all the time. But like the other day I sat down and I was just like, I don't know what I'm gonna watch while I eat dinner. And then I was like, I'm gonna just turn on episode one. And I fucking love that opening scene so much. It makes me so goddamn happy. There is something in me that's just like screaming at them, like, that's your fucking husband, like the whole time. Like it's just, I don't know, there's something so fun about like knowing what they're gonna be to each other and watching them meet and like be all shy and smarmy. Because Ilya's smirking through that scene. It is so funny. Like there's so many parts of Canada that are often used to describe like the middle of fucking nowhere. Like there's the running joke in the Disney Channel movie The Stepsister from Planet Weird that the two of them had moved there from the Yukon. And like the Yukon doesn't have a population of 0, it's just low. And it's the same thing with Saskatchewan. Like Chaperone has the like, I'm fucking moving to Saskatchewan. It's like, yeah. Um, the it's Canada's like 5 times bigger than the United States, but has a population like 50 times smaller or something. Like, there's some wild statistic about like the population density of Canada is like so small in comparison. But it's such a big country, but it's just like so much of it is like very cold and uninhabitable. Um and yeah, I mean, Regina is one of those things that I feel like everybody learns how to pronounce that, and then we all have a nice giggle about it. Yeah, that's what it is. It's yeah, which I mean, California doesn't have a massive fucking like not most most states don't have that population. I went to high school in Vermont. Vermont has a population of like 650,000 people. I now live in New York City, population 10 million people. Like, so it's all population density is just very funny to me to consider. But this was so much fun. Thank you all for being here. That's wild. I mean, Ireland's like 3.5. So, um Ireland always cracks me up whenever they're like trying to do the like we don't have room for people in here. I'm like your population is still half of what it was prior to the great starving. Like there used to be 7 million people in Ireland and like 3 million died. Like what? Um 2 million died, 1 million left. Like, what are you talking about? So anyway, not to end on the great hunger. Everybody go look up a Barbara Kruger piece or an interview with her because she's so fucking cool. And I will talk to y'all later. Bye.